fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to SimSpeed TV. It's another Thursday night here for us as we bring the action to you live. And whether you're joining us here tonight live on air, but if you're joining us afterwards, well, you know what you're here for. It's the fourth round of season number 7 for the SimRigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series tonight. We head to Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, United States. And, well, it's going to be, I think, an absolute cracker of a race for us tonight. Of course, Pass 2 setting up, getting ready to go now, which will lead into the main event with the Pro-Am later on this evening. But we'll get to all that in a second and get ready for the racing to come after that. My name is Daniel Eamon, Jay Kennedy alongside me, doubling up on production and commentary for this evening. Oh, Jay, this is going to be a good one, I think. At Barber Motorsports Park, fast, high speed, lots of flow required to get a good lap in around here. And these drivers are going to have to be pushing all race long, I reckon, to come out on top.
Such a difficult track, but it's such an underrated, amazing circuit. I love this place. Hello, Dan. Hello, everybody. Such an amazing track, this one. Very, very difficult, but rewards aggression and it rewards consistent driving. You've got to nail your apexes, plant yourself in the right place at the right time, and you will do well at this track. Fairly recent addition to the world racing sphere. Only been open for just on 20 years, but it's already established itself very, very quickly within IndyCar circles, most notably, but also become quite popular within the IMSA and sports car series in America as well.
That is true indeed. I actually don't think we've seen all that much action, at least at top-level sports car racing in America here, all that much, but certainly is very much accustomed to being on the IndyCar calendar on an annual basis. So this is what the circuit looks like in case you're not familiar with Barber Motorsports Park. My track map actually says 16 turns according to iRacing, but potato, I guess. The more important thing is you've got just over 3.8 kilometers of racing track to get around here, and you can see a lot of turns, mostly in that mid to high speed range, but we do have turn 5. That will be the one to watch, I think, tonight, of course, Jay, being our primary braking zone and overtaking opportunity. But you've also got things like the turn 7, 8, and, well, technically in iRacing, it's also called turn 9, but that 7, 8 complex here, where you come down a set of descending S's into a long but banked sweeping right-hander onto that back straight section. That's going to be another spot to watch out for moves being done tonight.
100%. It's a really, really difficult spot to get moves done. And not a huge amount of elevation change around this circuit, but most of that elevation happens in that one spot. So that section from turn 6, the run down there, and then back up the hill again through to turn 10 on this track map is pretty much where all of the elevation happens. The rest of the track does have a little bit as well. Of course, there is a little bit of off camber up the hill through turn 12, but it's a pretty cool track. The elevation not severe, but where it is very, very intense.
Yeah, we'll get to have a chance to look at that in a moment's time. Qualifying almost over for Pass 2 this evening. 10-minute session means that as long as they get across the line tonight, before that checkered flag flies, they can complete the lap they're on here, due to the fact that Pass 2 is running back in its single race format for this evening. So there's turns 7 and 8, as we were talking about earlier, that descent down into this long right-hander. And then here's this open, high-speed back chicane stretch where it's all about playing with those curbs. And then Back down to another set of chicanes almost, but it's more of a flick left, long bowl right again, get up on the curve if you dare, and then into what becomes almost a never-ending right-hand turn, of course, Jay, before you flick back left to come onto the start-finish line. There goes the checkered flag. Last car across the line looks to be Matthew Keane in the number 38, but first one across the line since the flag flies is going to be Jimmy Middleton here in the number 13 Ferrari. It was a 1:22.948, which was his personal best time, but only good for 14th at this stage. Matthew Bowler completes his session. Lodges that car very much so in the fence. He's going to end up in P2 tonight.
I don't think he's overly happy with how that lap went there, so he's put it in the fence because he wasn't too happy. He didn't quite get as close to the front as he would have liked. Hayden Jackson crosses the line. No improvement on his lap. Yes, there is. He jumps up to 14th. Hayden Veld, new to the series. Across the line, he'll start from 12th position unless... No, goes to 6th. And Watson jumps up into second place, so Pip's bowler right at the end.
That he does. Marcus Watson, Luis Paulo Gallen. We'll talk about them in a bit because that was Thomas Leprake in the 113 Ferrari having an absolute slide and a half. Almost hangs on to it though. So the last car looks to be on circuit is going to be Matthew Keane here in the number 38 machine. Obviously running that Vodafone 888 Mercedes paint job that we saw when they took to the Bathurst 12-hour 22.303 across the line. Unfortunately, not an improvement for him there. He will stay in 12th place for the grid here tonight, I believe. And that looks to be about everyone, Jay. Hayden Veld doing a cool-down lap at this stage. Marcus Watson also cooling down. So I believe we can now turn our attention to the grid in full. So here are your grid positions for Pass 2 tonight. 25-minute race coming up in a moment's time. That's going to be Luis Paulo Gallen, who takes the front spot tonight there with a 1:20.037. The pole time here for Pass 2. Marcus Watson joining him on the front row. Both newcomers to the series and have had experience in GT racing elsewhere on the iRacing platform. So we look to see what they can do tonight. 1:20.35 for Watson to get into second place tonight. Next up, Matthew Bowler, Sebastian Flock. We both saw them last week, able to put in some good results. They'll start out of 3rd and 4th this evening there, with Bowler on the inside for turn 1. Hayden Sell started at P5 and Hayden Veld out of P6. So our top 6 there, Jay, all pretty new to the series, if not last week. Brand new racing tonight. We get back into our next group of drivers, some of them more regular to the series, with Liam Caplice there starting out of P7. He'll have Harry Lawrence alongside him for an 8th place start in this one. Jeffrey Wang is joined by Jordan Schultzliff on the 10th row here tonight, Jay. And then Brady Buchanan out of position number 11 has Matthew Keane alongside in 12th place.
Yeah, from there we got Thomas Leprake and also Hayden Jackson on row 7. Row 8 will be Jimmy Middleton and Nick Warnes, then with Patrick Panton and Matt Tessareo on row number 9. Row 10 will be Shane Newens with Timothy Febben and Andrew Proctor, the 2 drivers that didn't post times in that session. 23 cars for Pass 2. Should provide a very, very entertaining race if you're new to the series. Pass 2 is our entry-level group, and they race 25 minutes with a pit stop in this one. So it should be very, very interesting battles out there on track over a very, very short race. Looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's a bit of a misnomer to say entirely newcomers. It is certainly
New to the series.
New to the series, yes. I think that's probably the best way to put it. There are guys here who did go through the pre-season qualifying gamut and unfortunately didn't quite make it into the Pro-Am for this season, but Pass 2 is open for all. So if you actually want to check out the series and if you've got a Thursday night free, you can find out more information, I believe, via the description of the YouTube live stream. Or otherwise, look up Oz Pro-Am Sim Series on Facebook to learn more there. They roll away here from the grid. Going to be a full formation lap here at Barber Motorsports Park tonight, so we do have a chance to sort of talk things through, because yeah, it is so new to the series is probably the best way to put it, as I said, Jay, because the top 4, if not top 6 tonight, all very fast cars, and in fact, all very new to the series, to the point, Jay, where our championship leader is currently starting out of 11th, and that's Brady Buchanan in the number 16. Liam Caplice will be P2 after tonight, thanks to Matthew Cartalone's promotion to the Pro-Am after a clean sweep in the first 2 rounds of the season. So that will take things there. So that is the number 20 AMG Mercedes starting in P7 for this one. is your second place driver in the championship. Everyone else up front here tonight looking to get some more points on the board and have a crack at working their way in towards the title, I would think, but that's going to take a bit of time, I would have thought, at this stage. Now, I'm very curious to see here Sebastian Flock in the Mercedes AMG. That's not his usual number 84, which I do believe he also requested for this series, so
I think he's made a boo-boo.
that might be a bit of a boo-boo there. I can also see Hayden Veld behind him. Synergy Sim Racing BMW looking very fantastic, but I can see on my end that something not quite right with the past two decals for that car, so I believe, well, they're lacking from his car on your end, Jay, but that might need to be something we discuss with the admins per se, because technically if you don't have the decals on, you don't get championship points. And that might make a difference as we watch these guys up towards this back S's section. And, well, that's going to be a fun spot to watch, I think, Jay. Can get through there, maybe too wide, but that's certainly a gamble if you try. That's more about setting up the run down here to the end of the back stretch.
Yeah, and this section's probably my favourite part of the track. You go down the hill a little bit here, and then you scoot straight up the hill off camber for the next corner as you go over the tunnel. The back way into the middle of the circuit for the emergency vehicles. Helipad just off to the side here as well. Very, very cool track, this one. It's so underrated within most of motorsport. It's a fantastic facility, and glad to see that we're racing here in AusPass tonight as we get ready to get this 25-minute race underway.
All right, after last week at the Red Bull Ring, they better hold for 80Ks. Oh no, the front two have broken away. That's not too good. There goes the green flag. We can start racing, but your front three, they're going to have penalties after the race thanks to not waiting for the start lights there. So, trouble after what we saw last week. Trouble at turn one. Harry Lawrence around in the Mercedes AMG. Very lucky to get away. Well, everyone else behind, I should say, gets away without running into him there. But, well, he's going to have an absolute pain of a time trying to catch that back up as the rest of the field streaks through turns 2 and 3 here, up through the little kink at turn 4. And, well, as a result of that, your front row have broken away, Jay, but, well, that's going to be a hefty pair of penalties to the tune of about 20 seconds post-race on both of them for race start infringements there.
Yep, and I believe almost every car got an infringement last round in Pass 2, so it's going to be a pretty clear-cut one considering how many drivers knew about it last week and decided to not read that section of the rulebook and then jumped a little bit too early, or a lot too early. That's being Gallen and Watson and Bowler probably will get a penalty. He went and then realised that was a mistake, slammed on the brakes, got back down to 80 and then waited for the green flag. So that one will be interesting on the part of race control. Hayden Sells giving him a little bit of grief here, tucked up in under his rear wing, but behind Liam Caplice is where a real true battle is, 6th, 7th and 8th.
I've just watched, I think, Nick Warness, the 916 Porsche, absolutely exiting stage left of the circuit through turns 13 and 14 there on the track. So unfortunately for him, that car is now already banged up, and a solo incident here, but thanks to the replay from Virtual Racing School, we can check on a HCC over the curve. The car just straightens out and doesn't turn right like he wants, and Destination Tyre Bundle, unfortunately, was the only place that car was going there, Jay.
Yep.
Oh, more trouble at turn 1.
Tesserio.
Oh, another Porsche driver getting tripped up there. Unfortunately, Dolo spin. Everyone gets out of his way, or avoids him there, thankfully, so he's not in too much strife, but just more pain there, lost time. As we check back in with the front of the field, Lincoln Police up one spot into P6, has jumped Hayden Veld here at the race start, but that BMW certainly hanging in nice and steady for this one so far. Now, if you're also new to AusPass, you will know that for the Pro-Am, that we will have a rolling balance of performance, which sees engine power reduced based on best cars and drivers from the previous round. Now, in Pass 2, I have changed it so that this season here, the BOP will not be applied to these races, so all these cars here have the 100% of their engine power available, but 28% fuel cap tonight, plus a fixed setup with 20 to 22 litres, depending on the car in question here. Jay, of course, will mean that they have to stop for fuel at some point during this race, get about 10 minutes out of the tank to start here tonight, and then fill it up and go home from there. As, oh boy, Veld very close through the middle of turn 2 there, able to keep it off the rear bumper just, but could have gotten a bit closer than he would have liked. And stifle the run down here to turn 5. As I said, this will be the spot we expect people to make moves. Obviously, big braking zone, very long apex here, and a chance to really get up the inside and then sort things out on the corner exit as these guys make their way up to the 6, 7, 8 complex here. Yes, or 7, 8. Goodness me. Track maps, different corner numbers, not helpful. As we're now on
The
board
chicane
with
at the end of
26.
down near the museum.
Museum, that's right. Museum corner. Call it that. Yeah, that might help me there and make life a little bit easier. As Jeffrey Wang is holding station at the back of those 3 guys, and then next group in behind them looks to, back towards Caplice and Veld here. As you can see here, Veld looking a lot more confident through the end of the back straightaway there. Thinks about looking up the inside, but too far away to make something work there. Jay will have to tuck in and... Ooh, I thought Caplice had a better run through the final turn. Turns out that was a bit too good. Puts a bit of the right side tyres in the grass. He just hangs on for now, but that just means that Veld is getting bottled up behind this Mercedes here at this stage, you might suggest. And he'll be looking for a way through as fast as he can. As again through 1 and 2 there, Jay. Tighter line from the BMW behind. Not able to get alongside though, so we'll have to gain some speed and then set up for the run to turn 5. He's definitely looking good this time though to get here on the brakes.
And just ahead as well, Sebastian Flock and Hayden Seller having a little bit of a battle, but we'll stay here for now because this has been going on for so many laps. This is very, very intense between these two. Flock's off in the dirt, and he will have to serve a slowdown for cutting that corner there, so he's going to lose the spot to Hayden Sell. So Flock will drop back to 5th, and this battle continues between Caplice, Veld, and Wang. Surprised Jeffrey Wang hasn't been able to hang on at the back of this group as well as Veld has been able to apply pressure, because we've seen Wang's pace has been very, very good throughout this series.
Yep, certainly has been a front runner in past 2 this season. Flock has actually sorted that slowdown whilst we're checking back in with these guys here. Now, what are the odds potentially though that Jeffrey is just sitting there, seeing that Hayden is close and getting a bit racy, and opting to leave a little bit of space on the table to ensure that he doesn't get tripped up in something should things not go right here, and get a bit of a little free fuel save on the way as well. Might be valuable to him. Get an extra lap out of the tank if possible, perhaps, to minimise the run home on fuel tonight. As
Veld... no! I was going to say I don't think Veld's fuel saving, but that's not going to be any concern now. That's a huge incident. Veld will have to come in early. Will he be able to make it home with just one more stop? That's huge damage to the front of that car.
It is big. He's gotten away without getting the mechanical black flag, which would force him down the lane pretty quickly here, but he might have to... Well, yeah, if he comes down early, he'll be short on fuel as we'll jump on board with the 53 BMW, pardon me, and have a look at it here through turns 2 and 3, and then see here, tries to get a good run off the corner and then just washes out despite the steering. Left rear, pardon me, in the grass, and Armco barrier straight into it there. Unfortunately for him, will have seriously muted that car when it comes to performance. But he is hanging on to P11 at the moment, and certainly still comfortable with the run there through the back part of the circuit. So he might just hang out here, get himself into the pit window, as yes, he will opt to stay out in that BMW as we check in with a couple of guys further on back here. Shane
Newens had a massive moment there down the hill and was able to hold on to it, and now has brought Middleton, LaPrake and Patrick Panton all into a big battle pack now.
It does indeed. And well, they line up here. A little bit of a blinky moment there for LaPrake, third in line in that green Ferrari, and hangs on to it for now. So we're getting towards the point where these guys will be almost out of fuels. That's more trouble for Newens there on the exit of 2 and 3, and then in the dirt again at turn 4 as these guys try and sort themselves out here. Goodness me, from bad to worse for that BMW. And invited Patrick Patton to try and think about the outside of LaPrake round this long turn 5 corner here, but he's not going to have the drive, and he might even be pressured here by Newens, who's going to have to go around the long way around down here into the museum turn. But no, Newens opts for a bit of discretion this time by, and will slot in and drop back to 15th place from what was running in 12th. The car undamaged by the looks of things, but certainly has gone for a bit of a wild ride in the last couple of corners, to say the least, let alone laps.
So we know the fuel restriction gives around about 10 to 11 minutes worth of fuel. The fuel restriction as well means that they can fill it up to get it home in past 2, but when we get to Pro-Am next, they won't be able to bring it home. That is the curveball within this series that we have to pay attention to. Newlands loses a spot there to Harry Lawrence. Is Brady Buchanan's off the track. Oh! Jordan.
And
Wow.
Schultzliff
He just stole their Ford.
ejects immediately. And, well, what has gone wrong there for those guys? Because, yeah, Buchanan's already off in the dirt. Let's have a look at it on the replay thanks to Virtual Racing School. So, down the front stretch, you're looking... Oh, my goodness, you can see that, yeah, Schultz is a long way behind, so completely independent accidents here. Through turn 1, we go a little wide of the apex, has to try and gather it up, but, gets the buck in the grass. Goes out wide, and then Schultzliff, yeah, completely independent mistake. Out in the dirt, bonk. And then, presumably, yes, well, not presumably, indeed, he did. Immediate Alt F4, there was no issue there with incident points already, because that would be quite dramatic. In fact, well, there is no way to get disqualified from this session for incidents. They just have a rolling set of drive-through penalties here in AusPass. So, more or less time to bring it into the pits, but Haydenveld says, no, I'm going to keep going, run the tank dry. That's definitely some interesting decisions there, I'd have thought, Jay. But, oh, well, Hayden is the one behind the wheel, so he can be the judge and jury of his own race, I suppose. Just seems a little interesting at this stage that he would opt to keep it out there with a bit of damage. Back up to the race lead, and, well, it's pretty quiet here for Luis Paulo Gallen. 3 seconds clear of Marcus Watson, but with his current penalty, he'll slot back into about 7th place at this stage. Obviously, that gap may change as the race goes on, and certainly will change as the race goes on, but yeah, we'll see how things play out here as Matthew Bowler there in P3 trying to keep in contact, but he is 5 seconds back, although he stands a chance of inheriting the race win depending on our race control look at the situation. If not, it's going to be to Sebastian Flock as Paulo Gallen brings it into the pits. And is he followed in? No. Marcus Watson's got another lap in that car. Matthew Bowler, though, he's in the pits, and he's joined by Sebastian Flock. So, drivers at the front starting to split the strategies, although I say that, and it's only Marcus Watson who is able to go an extra lap here at this stage. But the next group of cars, Jay, will prove me otherwise. So the front half of the field is starting to split that strategy here tonight at Barber.
Yeah, so Watson, Caplice, Wang have all continued on, as has Matt Keane. Veld's brought it in, no surprise to see him bring it in at the point of most others. Middleton, Laprake all coming in. Lawrence, oh, that's too deep and into the wall. He'll be able to use that spare car that is sitting there waiting for him. Panton's come in, Ewan's in. If you're going to smash your car into the wall, probably only one further corner along that you'd want to do it than the corner he just did it. So I guess that's a blessing in disguise there for Harry Lawrence. Speaking of using the spare car, Luis Paulo Gallen has used a spare car, so he may have sustained a little bit of damage bouncing the car over the curb. We know that the curbs can be aggressive downhill through the museum if you've got a little bit too much aggression through there, so he's obviously had to use it at that point to make sure he isn't down on straight line speed. Don't forget too, there is a big question mark hanging over Marcus Watson, Luis Paulo Gallen and Matthew Bowler. Probably more of a question mark over Bowler than Gallen and Watson. They 99% sure have a clear-cut penalty, but we're obviously not race control to determine that. But from what we've seen last week, 20-second penalty is probably coming their way.
Yep, it's actually, to be precise here in AusPass, it's 2 separate penalties. Penalties to the both drivers at the front row for failing to stay at 80 kilometers an hour until the green flag flies. And then they'll also receive a penalty for being above 80 kilometers an hour. But you know, it's failing to wait for the green flag before starting the race and being above 80 kilometers an hour when the green flag flies. So those are the penalties in question as Paulo Gallen heads out back past Watson. But that gap is a lot smaller, so that extra lap for Watson, but also looks to be a better in-lap here, as he's only 0.8 faster in the lane, Jay. Or, pardon me. Actually, yeah, 1.2 faster in the lane, 0.8 faster in the box. So a lot of that time can certainly has come in the in-lap there and that transition through the pit lane as the rest of the drivers make their way down onto the lane. Andrew Proctor in the 380 BMW.
He has just made it.
The last car actually to come down onto the lane, I should say. So he will be the one to complete the cycle here tonight. And, well, talk about getting there by the skin of his teeth. He has the last car, the last garage, it seems, in the pit lane, which certainly helps here with making sure you get in and not have any dramas as we look at the guys on track here. And, well, look at this. Hayden Veld has been able to get back up and jump Jeffrey Wang despite having to come down the pits and fix that car up. So he's back to P7 despite the fact he came in several positions back, I must say. So that's been a very impressive little charge there from Veld. And you can see there, out of the pit lane, fresh car in hand, Jay, and absolutely storming away. Next one up the road, if he can catch them. Liam Caplice in the gap is not even 3 seconds at this stage. So certainly keep eyes on the 53 to maybe, well, certainly get back to P6. P5, probably a bit of a hard ass, as Hayden Sell is nearly 10 seconds up the road. And we do have 10 minutes and some change left on the clock here.
Well, remember, if Veld can get back to Caplice, that's where he was battling before he had that incident. So that's a huge gain for Hayden Veld if he can do that. He just set his fastest lap of the race, his personal fastest lap of the race. Wang and Keane continuing on, but we're going to go back to this. Harry Lawrence, as expected, took his spare car. Patrick Panton also took a spare car. These guys fighting over 12th position. And this is rather tight right here. You can already see he's only just taken a spare car on his second flying lap. And that front is already destroyed. A little bit of contact. Patrick Panton's rear is destroyed. And a little bit more contact. That's another broken bumper.
Yeah, watching that there, I kind of get the feeling that Lawrence might have something to say about it, as unfortunately Panton's had to park it up and wait for traffic to clear turns 1 and 2. We'll go on board with Panton looking out the back of his car. You see that happen again on the replay thanks to Virtual Racing. Also fast into turn 1. And you see a boink from Lawrence there as 1. That gets the BMW loose. And then for some reason, Lawrence tries to go to the inside where the car's spinning, Jay, and just drives into him again. So doubles up the damage for himself. And, well, unfortunately, Panton is going once again, but now back on his own in 17th place and nearly a lap down on the race leaders. And, well, 9 minutes on the clock. And in fact, there is your race leader. Not far off, putting him a full lap down in a 25-minute sprint, which certainly does beg the question of getting these guys probably out of Pass 2 and up into the Pro-Am ASAP based on those kind of numbers.
Wang and Keane continue on as Brady Buchanan in the background has had a moment as well. What's happened there?
Oh, dear.
Him? Is that the same spot again? No, so this is up through turn 12.
No, that is turns 1, 2, 3, Jay. That's
okay.
That is another issue at turn 1 for the 16 Lamborghini here. And, well, yeah, that's not what we want to see. So on board with that again. Yeah, look at that. Mid-engine gets loose on the way through. This time, though, it slides all the way to the inside wall. And it has to do a nice, complicated bit of a turnaround there as you can't get that traction control disabled to spin her up. So unfortunately for Buchanan there, he jumps back down into 10th place. He's got Jimmy Middleton now for company behind. So we'll have an eye on him later on because here's the next battle on track. Jeffrey Wang versus Matthew Keane. Currently fighting over P8. And about 2.5 seconds now behind Hayden Veld, who's continuing to charge up the road. In fact, he's inside 1 second of Liam Caplice. So P6 is almost certainly his if the number 53 machine can get that pass done nice and cleanly. And then get it home to the end without any dramas, which you'd think is easier said than done, but already seen that when pushing hard, that BMW is certainly lacking a bit of front-end grip to what he would like here. As we jump on board with the 26 Ferrari of Jeffrey Wang, as this fight with Matthew Keane continues on here. Look at the back of the 8th place car.
Yeah, that battle for 6th and 7th just ahead is getting quite heated quite quickly, but we saw how good a job Caplice was doing of defending earlier on. I'll tell you what, Jeffrey Wang would have been a little concerned about getting a Mercedes indent into the rear of that car just then, because that was very, very close. A little bit of a gap, but This one here is well and truly on. The last lap, around about 0.8 of a second in favour of Veld. The lap previous, around about 1.2. So he's gained this gap, which was around 2.5, 3 seconds very, very quickly.
Yep. No stranger to GT machinery is Hayden Veld. Not super familiar, at least when it comes to recent league activity in the car, though. So really relying on a bit of a raw skill here in that machine. And again, looking for the inside of Caplice through 1 and 2 here at Barber. 6.5 minutes just under now left on the clock here. Jays, he makes his way up the hill through the kink that is turn 4, and not close enough for a move this time at turn 5, but every bit counts when you're trying to keep the pressure on the guy ahead here. And look at that, closing right up under brakes, and traction looks all right. Mercedes perhaps a little bit better out of the slower stuff. The BMW is known to be a little bit aggressive when it comes to TC interaction and getting the TC involved, thanks to wheel spin from the torque that this car can put down as they come through the museum turn. And Veld looking a little bit more confident, willing to push the limits when it comes to the track. Caplice had no curb usage whatsoever, whereas Veld is getting that car up and over those curbs here. Nice big flat concrete curbs here at Barber, but they can unsettle the car if you hit them wrong, especially through that back section where you're trying to maintain all the speed and get that rhythm just right.
Across the line, there'll be 4 laps to go still, so still plenty of racing left in this one. We're looking like a 19-lap race, and possibly even 5 laps to go in this one. A fairly short lap time, only 81 odd seconds around this track. We've had 2 DNFs from this race as well. Matt Tesorier couldn't continue. Veld, that was very, very close. Couldn't continue after that spin early on. And we saw Jordan as well also have a disconnect after his moment earlier on in this race. That was tight.
It was very tight indeed. Yeah, from 20 drivers to start this one, we now have 18 remaining as a result. We'll jump on board with the 53 driver here for a moment as he continues to try and find the weak spot in Caplice's defense here as they make their way down to the museum corner. And I have to say, Jay, it's fascinating to see Caplice is not willing to use the curbs, or has got the car figured out in a way that he doesn't need the curbs so much. And then he goes and makes an entire liar out of me right there. Last lap around, he didn't bother with those curbs through that back chicane. But this time around, he says, yeah, I'll get a bit of those and get a bit of the curb there for good measure. But once again, Veld supremely confident in comparison in that last couple of turns on the backstretch, opening up the penultimate corner as much as he can. But that's more about trying to make sure you really open the final turn as well. Oh, a break on the radio about something, and his car is in the grass at turn 5, I believe.
Oh, bigger than that. Lewis Polo Gallant's had a moment at the hairpin.
Is that what? Oh, I reckon that's what's got Leprake involved, because Leprake jumps on the radio all of a sudden. And, well, let's confirm that on the replay thanks to Virtual Racing Source. So, yeah, that's Thomas Leprake in the 113 Ferrari. Luis Paulo Gallen up the inside on the brakes.
He's hit the grass.
Leprake hits the grass and damage and spearing across the circuit. Gallen was checking out of the race lead. And, well, what that does is actually makes the penalty that he's going to get from this one a little bit more severe. He will drop down, well, in saying that, he'll only drop down to P5, Jay, because he's broken a 25-second advantage on Liam Caplice.
Look at how close it was for Watson trying to steal the lead away. Wasn't able to get it done. And now we've got a well and truly on battle for the lead of the race with 3 to go. It's going to be 3 to go. Still a lot of racing left here between Gallen and Watson. Bowler's not far away from stealing the lead. Sebastian Flock could be the race winner based on the time, the penalties that we're expecting. So this has just turned into an extra exciting battle all the way to the finish now. Speaking of that as well, the battle for 6 is now no longer just a 2-car fight. It's now a 4-car battle.
Yep, Hayden Veld unable to get through on Liam Caplice, is allowing Jeffrey Wang and Matt Keane to have another go at it here in the dying stages of this race. Now, as we said, yeah, those penalties for our front 2 drivers, all but certain, and unfortunately they won't be demonstrated and applied here in the race session. I have to say, knock knock iRacing, can we have those post-race black flags that you issue in Rallycross? That would make life really nice. As a league admin myself, that would It'd be pretty neat if I could actually go black and give a time for post-race. That way I don't have to manually do it afterwards, let iRacing handle the work. But I'll ramble on about things like that afterwards. Obviously what it does do is it minimises the effect of the penalty, but even so, Gallon slots back into P5, and he'll actually be P4 because of the same penalties that will apply to Marcus Watson. So it's not that big of a detriment to these two. And this is the kind of thing, I guess, that can happen with these penalties. I mean, they're also quick guys. As they come across the line here, they are going to have 2 laps to go there. As we check back in with Hayden Veld and Liam Caplice up towards the penultimate turn again. Veld trying to keep that car nice and open so he can then get on the power through the final turn. But up on the curb, the BMW there, Jay, doesn't seem to like that one all too much. The wider line from Caplice in that Mercedes gets a slightly better drive, but deep into turn 1 is Caplice. That's the door open here, perhaps at turn 2. Up the inside, looks Veld. Door half shut by Caplice, but oh boy, they're certainly going out of there, and he's going to hang on for now. But oh, that was some spirited defense. Veld's obviously got lap and a half still to make something work here, but well, I think he knows. Oh, Caplice loses the rear slightly there, Jay, through turn 5. But again, he's able to hang on, but now those rear tyres are getting cooked here. Rapidly flash heating at the end of this race thanks to these movements. And Veld looks for the inside here in the museum, but he's not alongside. Chosen those forces a wide entry, but he's going to have to tuck in once again and try and get the drive somewhere else. And look how close he is. I think a little bit of a rub on the exit of the turn there, Jay. These guys now locked nose to tail, and Jeffrey Wang surely now smiling and grinning, knowing that his chance, maybe snatch a 6th place finish here, has come in the dying stages of this race.
This is on, isn't it? This is a great fight and great defense from Liam Caplice, showing that you don't have to block to defend a position. You just need to maintain pace throughout a corner. It's brilliant driving. We would have seen in other races and other series that there would have been contact and drivers in the wall. It's been really respectful, this battle. It's been brilliant to watch, and hats off regardless of how this plays out for the next 3.5 kilometers, because this has been a fantastic battle to watch.
Final lap of the race. Paul O'Gowan is back out to a 1.3 second margin. The race at the line should be his, so our eyes will stay here because the rest of the top 5, in fact the top 5 entirely, they are set and sorted. This is the fight to worry about here all the way to the line. Good drive off turn 5 there for Caplice in the front of the train. Veld's not going to have a chance to attack here, and he now has to think about Jeffrey Wang behind once again. That Ferrari looking nice here at the end of this one. Down through the museum complex we go, and looks like they're going to be fairly even out of that one here. Luis Paul Gallen will take line honours, and Marcus Olsen will follow him across the line, but post-race penalties for the two of them will see them tumble down the order. Matthew Bowler, question mark as to whether he seals the deal, but he might just have the race win. If not, it goes to Sebastian Flock there in 4th place. A couple other drivers here making their way across the line, but here's the one we wanted to watch, and look at that there. Jeffrey Wang has dropped back in the final lap here. Unfortunately, he will not have a chance to contest P6. Hayden Veld tries round the outside of the penultimate, tries to get up the inside there, Jay, but no, the door was never open there. Caplice will hang on to P6. That has been about 5 solid laps of just on-the-line defense and driving the car best he could. Thumbs up to the number 20 driver there. He might even get a chance to close the gap in the past 2 championship to Brady Buchanan after that one there tonight. Well, there's your results at the line, and in fact, look at that. Luis Paul Gallen coming home, not so much the 1.2 clear of Watson or even the 5.8 clear of Matthew Bowler, but 20.8 clear of Hayden Sell means he will slot into P5, and then thanks to Marcus Watson's penalty, will be P4 for P4 and P5, the first 2 cars across the line. Matthew Bowler, question marks on him as well. We'll slot him, it'll be P4 for Paul Gallen. Hayden Sell hangs on to P5, but Marcus Watson drops into P6 after post-race penalties there tonight, Jay. And so whether it's Matthew Bowler or Sebastian Flock who gets the win tonight, we'll have to wait and see on the post-race review process. But, well, they'll certainly be, Flock is on the podium one way or another tonight. That much is guaranteed. Hayden Sell, well, he might just be off the podium if he's unlucky, and Bowler has made sure he's followed the rules at the end of that one there. Or if he is lucky, he sneaks into a third place finish there tonight with that result uncorrected. Liam Caplice will have to settle for 6th either way here tonight with finishing where he does. Able to hang on to that place ahead of Hayden Veld though. So credit to him tonight. Jeffrey Wang, unfortunately not able to stay close there. Has to settle for P8 and defend there from Matt Keane in 9th place. Brady Buchanan rounds out the top 10, but in the past 2 championship, Jay, he does lose crucial points to Caplice there, as those two guys are going to be our front runners in the title fight at this stage.
Yeah, the rest of the past 2 field, Middleton, Lawrence, Jackson, Proctor, Panton, Warnest, and Shane Newens. Thomas LePrake there we saw apologising profusely post-race, saying, "I'm so sorry, I got in the grass," for his contact with the leader. It didn't cost Lewis Paulo Gallen in regards to on-track victory. Jordan Schutzliff and Matt Tessa-Rio round out the field for Pass 2. Now, we've got to do a little bit of an announcement because I'm just trying to set things up here because we got a little bit of news earlier today that the next wildcard round is going to change.
That is correct indeed. Originally planned to be the Brazil stock cars at Interlagos. Now that was set for the 8th round of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed,
yeah,
I am.
End of July.
Thankfully correct. That would have been Thursday, 20th of July. The date will stay the same, and that will keep that round 7 place. But we can announce on behalf of the admin team here at AusPass that wildcard number 2 will be heading to Autodromo Internazionale Monza there. Combined layout, no first chicane, and we take the Dallara IR18 IndyCar to this Temple of Speed for that second of the wildcard rounds here in season number 7. So we're still a month out, Jay, from that one there, but certainly going from Brazilian stock cars with the push-to-pass system that they've got to what might potentially be, if drivers aren't too careful through the oval, could certainly be a bit of a death bowl perhaps through that that old oval there. But we're told certainly made for some good racing last time around. And, fingers crossed, open wheels, new damage model, whole host of cars in Pro Pass 2, and then the Pro-Am. That will
We're getting
be
ready
a
for
good one
the
them.
Pro-Am to get underway. I can confirm the grid while I know you're still loading things up there, Dan. So Alexander Bird will start from pole. Ross Rizzo in 2nd. Jeff Connell in 3rd. Lachlan Capel in 4th. Timothy Febben in 5th position. Then Kobe Williams, Dennis Gaderick, Andre Heimgardner, Danny Davis, and John Merritt rounding out the top 10. Joshua Fitt, Nick Wood, who has done a car change this round. He'll start from 12th position. Luke Fitt in 13th. Christopher Henn, Adam Funzlo, Matthew Cardellone, then Chu Kang, Ben Jeffrey, Aaron Raccanello, and Matthew Johnson rounding out the top 20. Wayne Hewitt, Aaron DeLuca. Then we've got Dale Carpenter, Richard Brookfield, Brandon Levin, Dylan O'Shea, Adam Jepson, Matt Andrews, Nick Bottrell, Daniel Cheney, and then Ben Pollock, Rob Hill, Phil Audie, Sam Lehman, Mark Foster, Owen Coleman, Derek Audie, Hilton Booth, Simon Dwyer, and Hamish Munro. The 40 cars we've got for tonight. The lead car in our AM class is Nick Wood, who, as I just said, has done a car swap for this round. So that's definitely been a good choice to do the car swap and get himself out there, and means he's going to lead the race.
Yeah, we have ourselves quite a handful of drivers opting to make car changes. Quite a lot of them also making the request to change out of certain cars and into the BMW M4 GT3. So it's quite the popular option, I would say, tonight. I would tell you for sure, but unfortunately my timing has decided for a second, whilst I'm now loaded into the session, to be quite the, inconsiderate and laggy mess. So unfortunately there, hopefully it fixes itself up in due course, because that would be nice. But to actually be able to tell you everything about everyone I can see in the server. But, well, JRT, play nice, please. I'd like to be able to talk about this race because I have everything turned up, and yet it's still apparently going to play hardball for me so far tonight.
Nick Wood has gone. He was from memory.
The McLaren.
My brain. It was in the McLaren. He has now gone to the BMW, so can confirm that is correct. So top 11 tonight are in our pro class. Bird, Rizzo in the Audi as always. Jeff Connell in the Mercedes. BMW in fourth for Lachlan Capel. Febin in the Lamborghini. Kobe Williams in the BMW. And then Gaderick and Heimgartner in the Mercedes. Our top 8 with Danny Davison. Good to see Danny continuing on. He has had a lot of bad luck in this series, so he'll start from 9th. And John Merritt in 10th. Shout out to John. Met John a few weeks ago at Pachuca Toyota Series sponsor. It was nice to have a chat to both he and Sam up there a few weeks ago.
Yes, that is a good point to make there. Indeed.
Done sponsor plugs while I'm talking stuff.
Indeed, yes. That's a credit to you there. I might even have to... Well, I'll certainly do the plugs later on as well, of course. Certainly a number of sponsors that make this series possible, and a credit to them all. As there's one of the few McLarens in the field there in the hands of John Merritt tonight. Certainly an interesting call there. When it comes to cars on the iRacing service, certainly an old car by standards these days, but also potentially a bit of a death trap, as it's certainly a bit of a loose unit. So safety car is off. Leaders hold 80 kilometers per hour now. This is how the race start is meant to look like here, folks. We wait for the green flag signal from Barney at the front of the field. There goes the green. So 10-minute sprint for the Pro-Am is underway. Round 4 of AusPass begins here and now as we go 2x2 up to the front. Turn 1. It's going to be interesting. We've got 2x2x2, and then we've got ourselves 3 widers. Heimgartner's around, unfortunately, in the Mercedes-Benz, and several cars around with him there. Oh, that's Matthew Johnson at top of shot as well, going around the 2x2. Oh, dear, it's gotten very messy at turn 1. Whilst we're trying to make sense of it all here, Jay, goodness me. You can barely see it. Oh, dear, Heimgartner is crabbing his car back to the pits as top 4 unchanged for now here, but starting to go single file as they make their way down the hill to turn number 5. And, oh boy, busy everywhere here. So many cars on the track. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, as it were. But they're going to have to sort themselves out and calm down and get into a rhythm. As yes, it's a 10-minute sprint race, Jay, but sets the grid for race 2. And if things blow up early here in race 1, well, that's going to set you back a long way for that feature race coming up after this one here.
I want to apologise to Danny Davison. I said good to see him continuing on after all the bad luck he's had. Well, it's continued because he got involved in that incident. Heimgartner and Johnson have both decided to park their cars after that lap 1 incident. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a replay. We'll try in a little bit, but Bird, Rizzo, Connell, Capel and Williams, your top 5 after that messy start. John Merritt's been a big winner there. He's up into 7th position. Joshua Fitt trying to make a move up the inside. Oh, contact. And Merritt around.
Oh, dear. That's unfortunate there for the number 64 McLaren. But we'll have to look at that again on replay and see if I can just who might be the one in trouble there, perhaps. But we'll worry about that in another time soon as we watch these guys continue on here. So focusing in here on a couple of our guys racing in the mid-pack now. That Simrig's DPR entry will be Joshua Fitt there, leading a small train of cars.
Luke Fitt's leading the AM class in 9th position. We talked about this previously too. If you're the only driver in the AM class to be in the top 10, reverse grid or reverse top 10, puts you in a huge advantage for race 2. We're going to get a look at that incident with John Merritt.
All right, let's go to the replay. Once again, thanks to Virtual Racing School here at SimSpeed TV. So down to turn 1. Touch and go there for Fitt on the inside. Merritt trying to defend down the middle of the circuit. And, well, absolutely monster run off of the final turn. Looking goes the Mercedes. Late on the brakes. And unfortunately,
definitely sounded like contact.
Converge. Yeah, certainly. Well, yeah, no doubt about that, I don't think. Merritt, whilst on the narrow 9 there, certainly looked like he was in complete control of that car up until what looked to be contact. It's just a question of, well, is that going to be on the guy making the pass there? Is that going to be on the guy trying to slide it up the inside? Is one of our drivers currently in the pit lane? Well, it's either Andre Heimgartner or Matthew Johnson, as they're the only two drivers currently sitting back there in the lane, unfortunately. Well, back up to the front of the field, Jay. Return to live pitches. Almost 3.5 minutes into this one already. And, well, top 4 unchanged. Bird, Rizzo, Connell, and Capel. If they make it top 6, I believe, are completely unchanged still, Jay. Yes, they... Oh, pardon me. Kobe Williams and Timothy Beeman have done the little switch there. Otherwise, your top 6 is as they were, as they make their way round the track here at Barber. So, going to be calming down a fraction here. Here's the second place driver in AM class. And lock into number 81 of Matthew Cardellone. And if you missed last round in the wildcard at Red Bull Ring, Cardellone promoted out of Pass 2 into the Pro-Am. And, well, yeah, that was a pretty straightforward decision there. Rightfully so. Has previous experience in the Pro-Am and was thrashing the Pass 2 field, it seems. So, best to get him up there into some more even competition, as it were. That was a little bit wide from Joshua Fitt on that particular run, Jay. And Dennis Gatterick is certainly sniffing around. I think he sees blood in the water, and he might just be looking for whatever he can get here at this point in the race. Every extra place is a bit of extra points. Yes, it sets you back for the reverse grid, but results on the board certainly sound pretty nice to him at this stage, I dare suggest.
Yeah, we always want to take the result when you can, because you never know, even if you do start from higher up for finishing down a little bit further, you don't know what else could happen in the race. You could always get taken out. There can always be other incidents. So you take the result when you can, because you never know what could unfold in these sort of races. Going to go back up to 6th and 5th. Timothy Febin, after getting passed by Kobe Williams, has been absolutely flying. He's been so close to being able to get through on Kobe. Kobe's one quick driver, but he can crack under pressure if the pressure is applied hard enough. So Timothy Febin will be aware of that and is applying it quite aggressively right now.
Yeah, these top 6 line astern. We've got ourselves 3 seconds covering this lead group of cars, and yeah, certainly changing places early on. Clearly shows, though, these guys are all up for the task here in this first of 2 races, at least tonight. So yeah, the $1 million question being, what does Williams do? That's late on the brakes from Febin. He's able to pull it up, though, and quite nicely so. Nick Bottrell on the radio, not too impressed with something that's just happened. I'm going to have a quick look at that one there, and well, the answer is late pass from Danny Davidson to turn 1, but overlap was there, and Davidson, unfortunately, the one who actually got spun around there, Jay, from it all. So an attempt at a recovery drive there from that Pro-Class Lamborghini has unfortunately gone a bit more sideways for him in this first race. And, well, he'll be starting this race now well down in the mid-30s. Or I should say the feature race, pardon me. He'll be starting well down in the mid-30s. We'll talk about that one some more perhaps later, because you've tuned into a nice little fight here just outside the top 10. It's a group of cars all racing. Well, actually, Wayne Hewitt is one of our Pro-Class drivers here tonight in the 70s.
As is Racanello.
Aaron Racanello also in Pro, but they have the amateur entries of Aaron DeLuca and Dylan O'Shea sandwiched in between. Those two guys running 4th and 5th in class, so good points up for grabs there if they can keep it on the straight and narrow here in the final. It'll be 3 laps for them, as well, they're a little bit behind the leaders at this stage, and we're not past 2 minutes 40 remaining as well for good measure. So let's jump on board with DeLuca here, Jay. What can O'Shea do in terms of pressure? He's certainly looking for something, I think, but opts for a bit of discretion this time round, at least into turn 5 here.
I think O'Shea realised that if he had a
oh dear, meanwhile trouble further back. Oh my goodness, I've seen 4 cars around on the exit of turn 1, Jay. These guys are back in the mid-20s, unfortunately for all of them. But holy smokes, I've just watched what looks to be an absolute cannonball of chaos. We'll have a quick look at that one there on the replay, thanks to Virtual Racing School. These guys obviously a fair ways down. So it starts up ahead between Christopher Henn and Nick Bottrell in the number 60 and 225. So contact in the exit of 3. They collect the BMW of Brandon Levin. The McLaren there will be of Hilton Booth, actually. And you can see there Danny Davison trying to recover, actually able to more or less get through all of them.
Look at the crabbing from Christopher Henn.
Henn's car certainly very dead from all of that one there. And in fact, so much so, he has brought it back to the lane. Well, look at that there. Alexander Bird has checked out up front. 1.5 seconds clear all by himself here at this stage. And he's got 2 more laps to go here, pardon me. He was able to sneak across before we got that... got the white flag.
Oh,
so
Catalone through. That's crucial. 10th position now for Catalone.
Reverse grid pole. What does Adam Funslow have, if anything, for that car? Of course, not racing each other for championship points, as they are in the Pro and Am classes, or technically Am and Pro respectively, if we're talking in position order there currently. So their points don't affect each other, but, well, this certainly could mix things up. Back towards the front, I think is a good chance to point out here. Top, well, second, third, fourth here, compressing a little bit. Ross Rizzo maybe not quite finding what he wants from the car here. Jeff Connell and Lachlan Capel sticking right with him here, and a little bit of a buffer back from Capel to Kobe Williams. So a chance for the fight for second to mix things up. They're going to take the white flag here this time by, so it's going to be an 8-lap affair in the sprint. Question is, are we going to see any late changes for position, or are these guys all content to run as they are and nail down spots here in this one? Cardellone looking racy at the end of it all. Another Audi here in the hands of Joshua Fitt. Pardon me, no, Luke Fitt, apologies. Not looking so great. Yes, I suppose. It's not looking so great at the end of the race. Late on the brakes from Cardellone. Space has to be given by Fitt. Round the outside, we try and go. And in fact, he's going to get the run around the outside in the Audi there with the drive. The museum complex is his now for the taking. Cardellone not going to be able to sort that one out. No, he can't initiate a switchback, but he will try and bump Fitt through the middle of the corner. Drive out, though, from Fitt, able to hang on to the spot. Funslow watches on there from P11. And, well, he would like to get back in the top 10, I would think, but he needs to be smart about it because Cardellone is looking racy inside for the end of the back stretch. And, in fact, Fitt backs on out, so he now takes 10th place. Not a class win, but crucially reverse grid pole for him. Across the line at the front of the field, though, it's going to be Alexander Bird, 2 seconds clear at the end of the race. Your top 6 stay as they were after lap number 1. And, well, close, but not quite for those guys. Next group come across the line, 7 and 8. And then 9, 10, 11 across the line there. They're going to finish as they were. John Merritt trying to recover, though. Almost gets through there. As, oh dear, that's a bit Mercedes off the track there at the final turn. That's Rob Hill on the 123. He's had a bit of a moment there and loses a couple of spots. He will finish, though, in 20th place. And then these group of guys here, look at them here, still fighting over the last spots. P29 and on back here. Anyone got any last corner heroics? The answer looks to be, well, actually a good run off the final turn for Nick Bottrell. He's going to close the gap to Simon Dwyer, but no, he will not get across the line in time. He will have to settle for a P30 finish to his name. And, well, certainly a race in the wars for Bottrell in that first one. And, well, he'll be hoping for a better result here in the second race later on. Oh, in just a couple of moments' time, I should say. So we'll come through the results here briefly and use the warm-up, I guess, to actually walk through it all in full. I suppose Alexander Bird starts from pole and takes that race win, walks away in the end by 2.1 seconds after the fact that he had only 3 seconds covering the top 6 at one point, but able to make that car sing towards the end. Ross Rizzo hangs on to P2, but a bit of pressure there at the end from Jeff Connell and Lachlan Capel may have changed things up there, but they finish as they started in 3rd and 4th respectively. Kobe Williams hangs on to that 5th place finish ahead of Timothy Thielen. Doesn't crack this time within the first in this first race, so well, no need to worry about that pressure concerns there. And they'll start the next race, of course, in the reverse order, but we'll get through the rest of the top 10 here. Joshua Fitt comes home there in 7th, able to fend off Dennis Gaddock there for 8th. Matthew Cardellone works his way up into P9 to get the class win, and Luke Fitt will be joining him at the front of the inverted top 10. of course, for the feature coming up in a couple of minutes' time.
Yeah, so Cardellone and Fit will start first and second, then the next closest competitor will start from 12th position, that being Chu Kang. He's got Adam Funslow just ahead of him in the results, and will start alongside him row 6 in the next race coming up in about 3.5 minutes' time. Wayne Hewitt and Aaron DeLuca 13th and 14th, with Dylan O'Shea in 15th. A little bit further back from what we've seen him in other races in this season so far. Aaron Raccanello finishes in 16th position. Richard Brookfield 17th. Good recovery from John Merritt. Was back in the high 30s after that lap 2 incident. Got himself back into 18th position. Good driver. Got Owen Coleman and Rob Hill rounding out the top 20.
21st place tonight goes to Mark Foster in the number 5 car. Ahead of Daniel Cheney in 22nd place. Ben Pollock not too far back there, also in 23rd. Phil Audie next across the line there in 24th. Then it was Brandon Levin in 25th. Unfortunately, tripped up at the end of that one there. 26th went to Ben Jeffrey a little bit further on back. And then Sam Lehman, a quiet race for him there to finish in 27th. But he actually made up some solid spots in that one, in the number 15 machine. Unfortunately, someone who didn't quite make up the spots tonight. In fact, really had a race from hell, I guess. 28th place finish for Danny Davidson in the 788 Lamborghini. Could have been worse, but other chaos benefits him right at the end of the race just a little bit there. Simon Dwyer brings it home 29th, and then Nick Cottrell has to finish it up there in 30th place. And then your final drivers to finish the race, round out the top 40 at least. 31st went to Hilton Booth, 32nd to Nick Wood. Not much separating those two after the drag race to Lima. Andrews, a bit of a rough night for him there, finishing in 33rd, and Adam Jepson, in 34th. Dale Carpenter, last car on the lead lap, finishes in 35th, and then our drivers to retire early, Christopher Henn, 36th, Derek Audie, 37th, and Andre Heimgartner and Matthew Johnson, 38th and 39th respectively. Hamish Munro, once again, not taking the grid, so participating in practice, but missing the races. I saw this from him last week. So, quick look at the race start from that sprint once again. I believe we're looking to focus in on Andre Heimgartner in the number 8 Mercedes. He's at 4th row back, left side of your screen. And down to turn 1 we go. You can see, look at that there. 3 wide between us. Gaderick, Danny Davidson, and Heimgartner. Gaderick's ahead by that point, and unfortunately Davidson and Heimgartner go for one heck of a spin there. One of our AM-class BMWs gets tripped up, and then Matthew Johnson in the top of shot there. JR saw it on the live feed spinning, but look at this separately. 3 cars basically blocking pit exit as well. Goodness me.
Yeah, one of them's an ILEC car. That's a 60 car by the looks of it, which is Christopher Henn. So we saw Henn have an issue where he ended up with all of that damage to his car and had a lot of crabbing going on. So he had that going on. Plus he had an incident to start the race. So he was in the wars in that one as well. So I think a few drivers will be happy to see the back of that first race, and some drivers might be really happy to see the back of Barber Motorsport Park. But I love this track. It is an action-packed track. Always provides brilliant racing. Sure, there is a little bit of messiness sometimes, but what track doesn't have a little bit of messiness sometimes? It's a brilliant track.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to put it, I'd say. It's a track that requires you to set moves up or to play the long game with the fuel economy here in these cars. Given, of course, and tonight, of course, 2 pit stops going to be required in the feature, which will mean the strategy will certainly be an important part in the way to sort things out. So, clock's almost over here. In fact, there goes the 0-second timer for the warm-up session. So, we get a chance to run through the grid in a moment's time for the main event. There's, of course, Barber Motorsports Park's historic and iconic Spider. Now, remind me exactly again, Joe, where is that overlooking? That's in the infield somewhere.
Yeah, just
inside of turn 5.
If you were to drive straight ahead at turn 5, you'd nearly run it over. So that's
that
right.
One.
And of course, there's also other bizarre objects out there too, with cockroaches or something the like, pushing wheelbarrows that are filled with Coca-Cola cans.
Well, a little bit of extra information for us all there then. Very much thanks to Jay Kennedy. master of all interesting facts. Fast, fun, and curious, all the same. But let's talk about the race here for the feature from Barber Motorsports Park. As we said there, invert the top 10 means that Luke Fitt gets to take pole position for this one, but he's got his AM-class competitor in Matthew Cardellone alongside him. Dennis Gaderick and Joshua Fitt will start at a third and fourth for this one, and then Timothy Theben gets a chance to try and stay ahead with Kobe Williams. They will start P5 and P6 once again for this one. 7th will go to Lachlan Capel with Jeff Connell alongside him in 8th. And then your front two from the heat, or qualifying in the heat, of course, starting 9th and 10th, Ross Rizzo and Alexander Bird in reverse order. Adam Funslow there will start next in 11th place. And then, as you said, the third driver in AM class is all the way back in P12 with Chu Kang there in the number 37.
Yeah, and everyone else is as they finish. So Hewitt and DeLuca on row 7. We've got O'Shea and Racanello, Brookfield and Merritt on the 9th row. 10th row will be Owen Coleman and Rob Hill with Mark Foster, Daniel Cheney, Ben Pollock and Phil Audie rounding out the top 24 drivers.
And then last couple of drivers, last 16? Last 16. That's what I'm trying to speak here. Brandon Levin and Ben Jeffrey there out of 25 and 26. Be Sam Lehman and Danny Davidson out of 27th and 28th. 29th and 30th go to Simon Dwyer and Nick Bottrell. And then it's Hilton Booth, Nick Wood, Matt Andrews, Adam Jepson, Dale Carpenter, Christopher Hannon, Derek Audie, Andre Heimgartner and Matthew Johnson. We expect those 39 drivers to take the grid. Hamish Munro technically existed in the server during practice, but I get the feeling maybe why he hasn't joined the races, Jay. His practice times are about 6 seconds off of the majority of the field here. 4 to 5 off the next slowest cars in the server. So that might perhaps be part of the answer as to why we're not going to be seeing Hamish on track.
You ever seen these weird things before?
No, I haven't, but that explains a lot. So we've got some ants swallowing Coke bottles, a motorbike,
and a driver.
And the motorcyclist, perhaps? So that's down the bottom of turn 3. And then we come up the hill to turn 4, and lovely little Marshall's post there explaining all things crazy American. And then we'll catch the safety car there, but here's that lovely spider that I was referring to there. In fact, got himself some other friends over here on the walls. And then there's that lovely infield tunnel you were speaking of. That will set the stage for why we have this lovely little rise up here at the end of the back straight. And it's a very nasty little crest if you're in a traction-limited car. Of course, here in GT3 category, could be fairly straightforward for these guys, but you never know if you're pushing just a little bit too hard, or you happen to find the grass, which, of course, not an impossibility if you're pushing quick. Safety car rolls in. We wait for the green flag, of course, as are the AusPass rules. So, pacing at 80 kilometers an hour here, round the final turn, onto the front straight. We wait there for Barney to wave the flag. And there we go. Green flag flies. 40 minutes is go. And AusPass gets the feature underway. We're already 3 wide between Phoeben, Williams, and Connell. He's going to have to maybe back out from turn 1. Cardellone to the lead, though. Round the outside. Turn 1. Trouble in the mid-pack. Oh, dear. Multiple AM-class cars involved. And once again, turn 1 is not a nice place to be if you get yourself a little bit crossed up here tonight. Oh, boy. Messy, messy place as the front of the field is still racing. Oh, boy. That is Connell defending all the way from Capel. Alexander Bird trying to get on through here real quick. Smart. And, oh, they are ducking and diving here through turn 5, Jay. But front of the field, apart from being a bit hip and shoulder, looks to be mostly neat and tidy for the moment, as that's on board from Timothy Phoeben, still riding in P5, but Kobe Williams is already through on him, so in fact, they have traded places once again into P5 and P6. Really, oh, Lachlan Cable up the inside, Jeff Connell at the museum turn. Looks to have got that one done. There's, oh, more trouble further back for a couple of guys, but it's a little hip check and bump that sees a couple of cars slide half sideways. Simon Dwyer there in the 256 gets it going without much fuss, but talk about a bit of a momentum killer and a bit of a roughing is getting roughed up there on the opening lap as, oh my goodness, Connell half on the grass to the penultimate turn, gets back on Capel at the front of the field there, Jay. It's just, I can't stop looking wherever I want to try and spot something. There's something else happening, but I think now we can take stock of a moment for the end of lap 1 here. Cardellone leads from Luke Fitt, and then it's Gaderick, Joshua Fitt, Kobe Williams, Phoeben, Bird, Connell, Capel, and Rizzo, rounding out your top 10 here as this race gets underway.
What a crazy start to this race it's been, and Oh, a little bit of hip and shoulder. That's Matt Andrews around, and also Phil Audie, and that's just blocked the track. Unfortunately, Johnson involved, Carpenter involved, and there's another car involved as well. It's gone around. Actually, it's Nick Lottrell. So unfortunate there to see that. Andre Heimgartner making his way back through. He started this one right at the back of the field, gaining a couple of spots. Probably not the way he wanted to battle through tonight, though.
Yeah, it is certainly no good for a couple of these guys here. As you said, a track that can invite a bit of chaos. And, well, both opening laps of these races tonight in the Pro-Am at the very least, delivering on that promise. And, well, we'll have to hope that things calm down just a bit to allow us to gather our thoughts and get some good racing for the rest of this one here. So, lead Pro Class driver there, still Dennis Gaderick, but he's now really hustling the back of Luke Fitt there for second outright. Every little bit of hustle here allows Cardellone a chance to break away a fraction. As we check back in with Ross Rizzo, still running in 10th place here, Jay, which is obviously important to note. Hasn't been able to make any moves since the start of this one. Is more trouble at the final couple of turns. Matt Andrews involved once again in his Mercedes AMG. It's just, yeah, still going off now. The other end of the lap, not just the opening couple of corners, but, well, I get the feeling Andrews, he brings it into the lane. He might just be done with that one. We'll have to wait and see. But back to the front of the field once again. It feels like, yeah, we're playing the yo-yo here, trying to figure out where to focus on. But it's fight for P9 between Capel and Rizzo. You can see Capel not able to switch the BMW on to stay in the tow of Jeff Connell ahead in the Mercedes, it seems. I'm curious to see if he can switch that car on a little better in the next lap or two, or if maybe just a slightly chaotic opening lap has rattled a bit of confidence there to get in the start of this one here.
Shout out to John Merritt, who's almost got back to his starting position after, 14 minutes of actual racing. 10-minute race plus 4 minutes of this one. It's been a very, very good drive to get himself back all the way to the front. If he can get himself back up into the top 10 by the time we get pit stop started, I think that'll be a brilliant result for him. Luke Fitt is now potentially about to lose that second position.
Yeah, being under pressure for quite a few laps. Up the inside goes Gaderick, but Fitt hangs on around the outside. 2 wheels in the dirt, but he still somewhat makes it work. He's going to have to get the drive off of turn 3 here. It's backed up everyone behind in Joshua Fitt, Kobe Williams. In fact, Timothy Phoebens almost having a go at Williams thanks to all of this here. Gaderick's finally going to get the job done into the inside of turn 5, surely, but oh boy, yeah, Luke Fitt's going to make him work for it around the outside, but there we go, drive off the turn for Gaderick on the inside.
Phoebens throwing Williams too.
Gets that one done. Phoebens ahead by a nose, Jay, you're dang right, but I get the feeling, yep, up the inside here for the museum. That's Williams saying, I'll have that back, thank you very much, but he now tries to put the pressure, he doesn't put the pressure straight on Joshua Fitt, thanks to the fact that Fitt now, or Fitt versus Fitt for P3, has tripped up the Mercedes driver of the two there. And down the end of the back straight they come. Look at the gap that Cardellone is starting to build. Obviously not so important relative to most of the top 10, but given that, again, P2 in class is Luke Fitt, P3 in class is still Chu Kang. He's back at 13th. There's Phoebens around to the final turn. That checks up the field some more there. Now, was that self-inflicted, or is there a bit of a helping hand from the car behind? Oh, unfortunately self-inflicted for the 888 Lamborghini there. Alex Bird able to,
this is
was far enough away as, oh boy, watching the front of the field still live. Kobe Williams trying on Joshua Fitt, who tries almost on Luke Fitt there, but they stay as they were for now. But up the hill to turn 5 we go. Fitt, well, Joshua trying to attack Luke as Williams tries to attack Joshua. Oh boy, too deep on the brakes for Joshua, and Kobe Williams gets a 2-for-1 special. Oh no! Oh dear, Lachlan Capel around backwards on the track.
Rizzo also involved. He's got massive damage to the side of his car.
Oh boy.
He's got a meatball flag. He's got a mechanical black flag.
3 drive, Capel with the mechanical black flag as well. Nick Wood for an unrelated incident, I believe. Well, almost certainly unrelated incident. No apology. Well, due to his position on the track there. Also tripped up. So here's what happened. So Capel gets the yellow flags of the incident and there, and oh, Joshua Fitt drives onto the racing line. Well, from that perspective there, I just have to say, what were you thinking, Josh? That's someone who's been, for the most part, solid competitor in the season and a half that we've covered here on SimSpeed TV. Yeah, that's just... It feels like an incredibly poor lapse of judgment there from the driver of the 59. In fact, you see that gives a second shunt to Rizzo. And, well, Rizzo brings it straight into the pits. Capel there also with the black mechanical black is going to press on there. He wasn't too impressed with the way things turned out. But looks like he's going to stretch it on the fuel at least. He does have a couple of chances to go past the pit lane, but that car might be a bit dicey here if he's got terminally severe damage. Back up to the front of the field, Jeff Connell was the next one to have a go at Luke Fitt here. Fitt opens the door, very much so though, and well, Connell says, I'll have that one nice and easy. Thank you very much there, Jay.
Yeah, an unfortunate incident, that one there. And, I mean, understand what was going through the head of Josh Fitt. They're trying to just get himself out of trouble, but sometimes you just have to think about, you know, I have to give up time, I have to give up all these spots. As much as you don't want to, you just have to do it. And you probably find himself with a little bit of wrath from race control. When he looks back at it too, I'm sure he'll think, geez, why did I do that? That wasn't the most intelligent thing, and I'm sure he'll be regretting that and be apologising for it later on. Shout out to John Merritt. He is now back to his starting position. That is a brilliant drive, regardless of where he finishes. To just get back to where he started is a brilliant effort.
Oh, Wayne Hewitt's gone around at the end of the back straight somewhere in the 72 Merc. Oh, boy. Brandon Levin around at the penultimate turn as well in the 99 BMW. Oh, boy. And Dylan O'Shea redressing, I think, that one there. So that might give a hint as to why we found Levin around. As to the replay will go, thanks to Virtual Racing School. See Wayne Hewitt here, unfortunately, all by his lonesome. Oh, gets the grass with the right rear. Basically nothing in it there, and that's all it takes. And then Levin, yeah, just unfortunately, the nose chopped there by, well, chops across Dylan O'Shea. In fact, they've had more trouble with a couple of other cars. It's absolute chaos out there. Sam Lehman involved in a secondary contact with Dylan O'Shea.
Oh, look at the damage Phil Audie's got.
And yeah, the 45 of Phil Audie definitely looking a bit scruffy. And well, look at that there. Lachlan Capel's car is now certainly crabbing its way back to the pits. I believe I saw him graze the stricken car of Wayne Hewitt moments after we moved away from that replay angle. So unfortunately, Capel, it's going from bad to worse. He's currently down in 16th place. It's not unrecoverable from here, but for a driver who showed great pace in the top four, from bad to worse for Luke Fitt. He was managing things quite nicely there, all things considered, in that Audi, but unfortunately he's now back in 12th place. He'll stay out on track and run the fuel out here in this one. But there's a car around to the front straight. The Ferrari, that's going to be Chu Kang, if I'm not mistaken, there as he goes around. There's more trouble at the end of the backstretch between Daniel Cheney and Owen Coleman further on down. It's absolute bedlam out here in this feature race for the Pro-Am tonight.
Owen Coleman. Oh, gee, that was close for us. Rizzo almost got collected there by Owen Coleman as he's trying to reverse, trying to find a way to get through. The field has spread so much. There's literally no gap for him. There's Ben Pollock around on the front straight. Watch out for this. Aaron Racconello. That's some good driving, but Ben Pollock, I don't know about that one. That was a little bit messy in the straightening up there, but he's got it going. He does have a mechanical black flag. No surprise with the amount of damage he's got. He'll bring it in next lap. Going to go to the front of the race because this has got very important. Cardellone, the last time we looked, had a 2-second lead. Now that was when we saw Luke Fitt was in second position. Dennis Gattarick has got through. Gap is now half a second.
Yep, not all that surprising in terms of the pace that's being showed there as Jeff Connell gets up the inside of Kobe Williams, but only for a moment. Too deep through the penultimate turn, and Williams needs no further opportunity to get back through there on the number 4 Mercedes. So it feels like it's a matter of when, not if, with regards to Cardellone being passed for the race lead. But those three behind also will want a piece of it. And then you can see there, Aaron DeLuca, the next of the AM class cars, has snuck his way up into 7th place, avoiding the bedlam. But his biggest problem is he's actually still got a 12-second deficit to Cardellone here that he's going to have to either somehow make up or just hope that things don't quite go so well as the pro traffic continues to make their way through on the guys here in the top 10 in AM classes. Down in the museum complex we go there, looking fairly even between our front two drivers for the time being. They won't have all that much fuel left in the car either, Jay, so expect these guys to probably visit the pit lane here at the end of this lap, I would think, given that they also have completed. This actually will be their 9th lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. 9 laps. So that's in regards to laps, that's the most we've seen an opening stint go for this and also previous season. So incredible in that aspect. But of course, this track does have a lot of stop-start to it, so it does provide a little bit of extra opportunity to conserve the fuel a little bit. The interesting thing is it's not just one make of car that's been able to do that 9-lap stint. You've got Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Audi, and BMW who have all done 9 laps. So what's that? Every single car that we've got out there has done it.
Yes. The only thing, we're only missing a legacy Mercedes to have joined the party. Otherwise, 6 of your 8 GT cars represented here tonight. And who's out in front? Dennis Gadarek's made it out in front. That's who. Pips Cardellone in the pit stop by 1.1 seconds stationary. Now that will be time he has to give back in the final pit stop. But, oh boy, the Audi of Alexander Bird, Kobe Williams in the BMW, and Jeff Connell in the AMG GT3 behind. They've all massively gained in the stop by over 2 seconds. So they, I think, have opted for a slight short fill there compared to Cardellone ahead. They've been playing a bit of fuel games here tonight already and are looking to now close the gap in this second stint and press on.
I'm thinking they've done the fuel gamble to try and get a bit of track position to then be close enough to draft and fuel save. I'm thinking that's what they've done there. They've all gone, the next 4 who are all very, very smart fuel operators. Bird and Williams, of course, teammates of Vanderbilt Sim Racing. Jeff Connell been brilliant in regards to fuel saving. Adam Funslow has also done the same, but he also pitted 1 lap earlier, so that would be a full tank for him. But those 4 are all around about 2 seconds shorter in fuel load times than Matthew Cardellone. Cardellone will now be starting to feel a bit of pressure from behind because it won't take long for those pro cars of Bird and Williams to close that gap down.
Yeah, it feels like it's an inevitable wait and see, but I guess anything could happen here if things go awry. And well, look at that there. The gap back to Jeff Connell is quite substantial. Between Kobe Williams and Jeff Connell, it's 2.5 seconds specifically. So Jeff's got his work cut out if he wants to try and catch those group of guys ahead on the same fuel strategy as well. That certainly won't play into his hands. As we check back in with one of our guest drivers, well, not guest drivers, I should say. Joe Heimgartner certainly made his way in to the pro division on merit, but certainly one of the drivers that we won't be expecting a full season commitment from, funnily enough, due to the fact that he may have a real-life V8 supercar awaiting his...
Not a good enough excuse, I think.
You're not enough good excuses.
No,
Joe Kennedy, apparently.
No, but it is good to see him out there, and we've seen in GT3 races that we've covered here on SimSpeed before that Andre is very, very good in these cars, and he's come back through, gained 18 spots already, but was involved in that lap 1 kerfuffle on this race as well. So to gain 18, there's only one driver in the field that's gained more positions than he in this race, and that's Danny Davison, who is now up in the 9th position. So I hope I haven't put the commentator's curse on Danny again tonight, and I hope I haven't put it on Andre again tonight. So this will be a fun little battle to watch here for Andre as well. We'll focus on this a little bit for the next little bit before we get into the last round of pit stops, because there's always some good racing in this group here.
Yeah, what have we got here? 17th through 21st to Phil Audi in behind this Mercedes we now ride on board with. So Heimgartner trying to think of a way through here. It's not going to be at turn 1 this time on Ben Jeffrey directly ahead in the 150 BMW, but maybe can make something work in another part of the circuit. At the moment, though, Jay, they all look quite evenly matched, as you've got Dylan O'Shea and Rob Hill directly ahead of Jeffrey and Heimgartner. O'Shea looking under brake on Hill and nudges the door open, and Heimgartner takes advantage of a bit of hesitation there from Jeffrey. He's around the outside, though, as we're approaching the museum section. What does Jeffrey do? Does he commit to the outside? He will get the inside line, but Heimgartner commits to the outside. Over the curve he'll go. This is what you did side by side. Can be done, but a bit of a hip check, unfortunately, there. We'll see Heimgartner have to reset and go again. And Phil already thought about his chances there for a second, Jay, but has to tuck back in line as well as they make their way through the back straight and up and over this back, or end of the back straight now here into the final couple of turns. As O'Shea's off in the grass ahead. A quick replay though, thanks to Virtual Racing School. Trouble for Daniel Cheney ahead.
Yeah, Cheney's had a big moment here.
Oh dear.
Through 7 and 8. So we'll pick it up and I see what you're oh-dearing at. We'll get a replay. We'll stay on the replay because talk about commentator's curse. I've well and truly put it on. Yeah. Talk us through it, Dan.
Petition maybe for Jay Kenny to never say good job for making up spots because so O'Shea's ahead of us here, goes off in the grass. Andre goes sides. Now's the time for action. Looks for the inside of Ben Jeffrey, but unfortunately finds the rear of Rob Hill and sends a lot of those cars scrambling. And unfortunately, that now sets them back a couple more spots and a whole lot more time. Back to the front of the field with live pitches though, Jay, and well,
geez, that gap closed quick, didn't it?
No surprises there. The gap to the lead is only about 1.2. Well, gap's gone up to 1.2 seconds between the leader and Catalone in second. But now Alexander Bird wants his share of the pie and would like to get after the overall race leader. But he's not going to get it this time into turn one. He's going to play that one a bit smarter and try and set things up for later on in the lap. Obviously got to keep in mind teammate Kobe Williams. Although, in saying that, not teammates for AusPass teams points this season. Alexander Bird has partnered with Ross Rizzo. As up the inside goes Bird, nice and late, but Cardellone tries to turn on in and he finds an out and he's still not turning left. And, well, it looks a bit interesting from that spot there because Kobe Williams gets on through and looks like Alexander Bird is going to redress that one in a moment's time. So Kobe Williams gets a 2-for-1 special as a result of all that. And, yep, Bird pulls on over there to the inside. He'll roll on out there.
I just want to send my apologies to Andre Heimgardner.
Oh, what have you done now? Off screen as well.
Don't worry, it's got way worse for Andre. I am so sorry, mate. Yeah, it's not gone well. He's now got a mechanical black flag. He has DNF'd the race, unfortunately. But he's put it in the wall just up here.
Oh, so you curse them on screen. You curse them off screen. Oh wow, that is yeah. And the fence has even said the fence has said return to sender as well. Oh dear. Well, yeah, the number 8 Mercedes AMG is back in the garage. We have a quick look at what happened between Alex Bird and Matthew Cardellone here once again. And yeah, the mother of all sense from Bird, pardon me. That Audi though was not stopping for the inside apex, and well, Bird has to straighten that one back up. As back to live pitches we go, and just at that same moment, Bird almost runs into the rear of Cardellone again. And look who's joined the party thanks to all of the contact and the redressing between those two guys. Jeff Connell has decided it's his turn to join the mix, and that 2-3 seconds I said he had to be perhaps worried about is now completely gone. And he is right where he would like to be, I would think, at this stage.
Yeah, he'd be much happier to be up in draft to save fuel. He does his best work when he's in fuel save mode. In his own words, he's races where he doesn't quite have the pace to get the win. He's just going to go out there and try and save fuel and steal some positions that way. We saw it at Sonoma last season, and we're seeing it now that he's in the draft. He might be able to pull a little bit of a Swifty, undercut these guys at this next stop. It's going to be tough for him to do because he's got some Fuel Masters in front of him, but some Fuel Masters behind as well. I tell you what, that's a good run from Jeff Connell, and Bird's just going to have to let him go here, I think.
Oh, maybe not. Alex Bird's obviously got the apex for turn 1, and in fact, Jeff Connell tried to hang it around the inside of turns 2 and 3, but couldn't hang on, whereas, well, Bird did. And that all stemmed from Alexander Bird thinking about a move at the final turn on Matthew Cardellone and not able to get close enough to make it work. That compromised the run. So the Mercedes behind able to take full advantage. What has obviously happened now is that they've all spread back out once again. And, yep, Andre Heimgartner confirming that, yes, that car was most certainly dead and done beyond all possible repairs. So we farewell him from the server this evening. And check in with the next battle pack down the road. another 4-car group. Adam Funzo is for position just ahead of it technically, so you can call it a 5-car train. Ross Rizzo, after the dramas earlier on, is back up into P10. It feels like he hasn't left 10th place tonight, it would seem. So, well, credit to him after, having to slide backwards with damage to keep on keeping on. Obviously, it looks a little bit interesting, though, considering we know he's got the pace to race with the guys up front. And definitely a little bit detached from where we would have expected him. Christopher Hen's down on the lane, but I don't... He wasn't...
He has a flag.
He's also a lap down, but my timing got completely confused, apparently, and sent him to the top of the order. So
he had an incident on the previous lap with Dale Carpenter, I believe.
I think he's also towed. That would explain why. Yes, his pit lane and pit box are exactly the same. He has towed that thing back to the lane, unfortunately.
John Merritt, our lead driver in the McLaren. Good to see we've got a bit of a mix in the top 15 this week. We've seen a little bit of a BMW and Mercedes show at the front of the field, but we've got an Audi in there as well. I mean, we've had a few Audis up the front as well. We've got an Audi in the top 4, McLaren in 8th, Lamborghini in 9th, Ferrari in 12th, and we've got a Porsche out there as well. I don't think we do tonight, but we have had Porsches as well in the season so far.
Porsche's absent from the Pro-Am this evening. We obviously did have them in Pass 2. Unfortunately, it looks like, Jay, most of our Porsche drivers have abandoned ship here, such as the competitive nature of the they've abandoned thanks to it's such a competitive series here in the Pro-Am that unfortunately it is looking to be pretty commonly accepted fact the Porsche just not up to snuff this season when it comes to pace, and so that will be that's why we're sort of seeing an exodus from that car in this category. Just saw there a couple of cars from the back of the top 10 down onto the lane. Ross Rizzo, one of them. He's joined by Danny Davidson, and Lachlan Capel's also come down to the pits. Meanwhile, though, there we go. Alexander Bird through on Matthew Cardellone, and now it's Jeff Connell's turn to line up this AM-class Mercedes and keep on racing, you would think.
One thing we haven't talked about tonight is, as we have talked about most weeks, is the rolling balance of performance. A little bit of a change to the Mercedes again, lost 1% of its power. Also, the BMW had a little bit of a loss of power, but a little bit gained back for everyone else. Actually, no, everyone else stayed the same this week. So, a little bit of an adjustment there, but it hasn't really detracted from any of those cars at all. Their pace is still really good from the Mercedes. BMW is still looking strong. The Audi's probably been the surprise packet this season so far.
It has. Obviously, the older cousin of the Lamborghini Huracan in the real world, and also on iRacing, since we are still running the original 2016 LMS package that came out with that car. As we check out John Merritt. Yes, John Merritt. Apparently, I'm hard today here in the comms box. Although I perhaps can blame it on the fact I'm trying to multitask, which is probably a bit of a poor decision, but I'll worry about that stuff another time. You can see here, trying to pressure the back of Joshua Fitt for what is currently 7th on track, but I do owe us a pit stop, of course. Ross Rizzo leads the drivers who have stopped twice, down in 14th place, and got Danny Davidson right behind in 15th, who has also filled up to
not going to say a thing
tonight. You said
plenty more than enough tonight.
You said plenty
not
already.
ruin anyone else's race.
Well, apparently so far it's gone okay for John, because he's out there. He's still circulating. As that's Adam Funslow from front of shot who brings it into the pits. And well, Merritt thought about making the move round a final turn there. A bit of an ambitious concept, but no, he will flop back in line and get on with trying to hustle that Mercedes ahead. So there's the leader of those who have pitted, but unfortunately we don't expect him to be the leader of those once everyone has pitted twice. As,
Interesting to see where Rizzo comes out with Funslow here, because remember, Funslow was leading that group that Rizzo was at the rear of.
yes.
So this should actually be rather close between these two, and I'll tell you what, it will be.
Yep, Funslow at the far end of the lane, or actually closer to the far end of the lane than perhaps Rizzo would like, and away goes that number 32 Merc, and he will stay ahead, but not by much. So
Tighter. That's tighter than it was.
good point there, of course, to make indeed. So Funslow now takes the honorary leader of those who have pitted to make it home title, but of course, all these guys up ahead still to come in. That's someone who's
Dennis Gaderick from the lead.
there.
That was a huge moment.
Well, that'll explain things there, because all of a sudden his lead, his gap to the guys behind was basically nothing as Kobe Williams shot it down onto pit lane moments before we checked out the replay here, thanks to Virtual Racing School. The race leader Dennis Gaderick up through the back chicanes. That's all nice and steady there. And then end of the back straight, to the left over the curb, to the right, turn left, Chief, and whip. Looks to be honest, a little bit underwhelming there.
Looks better on board than it did from external, didn't it?
Yeah, a little flick of the steering left to keep us straight, but, well, I reckon watch out for Kobe Williams in that case then, because he was coming with a vengeance. He's off the lane already once again, and he will come out now as the leader of those who have pitted. In fact, oh, that's critical there. Alexander Bird able to get ahead of Nick Bottrell. Jeff Connell followed them in and matched them more or less on pit stop. Someone who's
7 seconds between Funslow and Jeff Connell. So Connell third of those that have pitted. Funslow will be fourth of those that have pitted, but 7 seconds between them. So a pretty substantial gap.
Yep, of course, indeed. So top 6 yet to pit twice. Dylan O'Shea in P10 also yet to pit twice. And then a handful of guys further on down as well. So watch these guys here with bated breath. How long can they stretch the tanks here? How short can they make their final stops? And that looks like it's going to be nope. John Merritt is still going in that McLaren. The driver who's coming down the lane is actually going to be Joshua Fitt there in the Simrix.com DPR Mercedes. More drivers staying out though. Gaderick, Cardellone, and, well, actually, pardon me, and Timothy Phoeben along with Merritt. So now 4 cars at the lead of the train. Still to pit here, and well, looking at that there, looks like Merritt might want to think about pitting soon, because that was some traffic ahead. That's Luke Fitt and Aaron DeLuca down onto the lane. They're both racing for what should be second place in AM class honours, still to be determined there, as Kobe Williams still out on track there. He is the leader of those who have pitted, and 28.5 seconds to Dennis Gaderick at the front of the field. So that will be, again, one to watch. Gaderick there still hustling though, that Mercedes, Jake, and looks to be leaving nothing on the nothing on the table here. No personal best this time round from what I can see, but that little wobble there just tells me exactly how hard he's pushing. The answer is pretty hard, whilst making sure not to make a mess of things. And there we go, just inside 10 minutes on the clock. Jay brings that car down from the race lead after 22 laps of racing here. And back down to pit speed limit. He's followed in by Cardellone, who's found the fence, I think, at one point there. And, well, twice even, because that was a bounce off the fence. Timothy Phoeben is in. So now here comes the question, where does Williams come out? He is hustling that BMW here, Jay, round the last couple of turns.
Yep, and into the box is Dennis Gaderick. He's already stopped, almost halfway through. 8-second stop, just under 9-second stop for Dennis Gaderick. He is away. Pit lane speed limiter off. It's about 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds. Very similar gap to what we saw between Ross Rizzo and Adam Funslow. So this is not done. Dennis Gaderick, I'm a bit concerned. Maybe he short-filled the car a little bit to try and keep his track position. Kobe Williams did not. He is fueled up to go home. Still 10 minutes on the clock, or 9 minutes on the clock. Still a lot of racing left in this one. Still 8 laps left. Can Gaderick hold on here? As Rizzo's through on Funslow.
There we go. So Rizzo making some progress. That was Timothy Phoeben in behind Adam Funslow there. So we saw Phoeben coming out of the pits there a moment ago, and now shuffles back into 10th place. The top 10 is now as it should be, as O'Shea has come down to the lane as well. So now this is getting very interesting indeed. Funzo, bit of a quiet drive for him, I'd have said, so far, and looking to keep up a good job here tonight. So we'll keep you posted on that group. And in fact, this group here of Josh Fitt, Ross Rizzo, and Adam Funslow, and Timothy Phoebe, they're our big battle pack to keep an eye on. The other one is currently Brandon Levin and Luke Fitt back fighting over P13. They're the other two guys who are somewhat near the front of the field at the moment, who are racing fairly hard, but this is, of course, the one inside the 10 that we want to keep our eyes on for the most part. And unfortunately for Joshua Fitt, that was lap traffic up ahead. John Merritt's a little bit further up the road, so he should be fairly safe, and his eyes are now all focused on Cartalone for 5th outright.
Yeah, I think he's like Merritt, you're talking about looking at Cartalone, but Josh Fitt is going to have one eye in the mirror there because Rizzo is closing and closing rapidly. Last lap by was half a second quicker. Before the pit stops, Rizzo was quicker as well. So Fitt is in a little bit of trouble here. Of course, both pro drivers. This is important for position, important for the championship standings.
Very true indeed. Of course, all these drivers, the only driver inside the top 10 who's not a pro class driver is Matthew Cartalone. Luke Fitt unable to stay in this front part, but we'll worry about those Pro-Am mixes later on because we've got ourselves some Pro v Pro action here with Joshua Fitt continuing to try and fend off Ross Rizzo. But that Audi is starting to charge here, Jay, and charge right at the end of it all. Look at that there, opting to stay in 3rd gear around the penultimate turn rather than drop it back into 2nd for the rotation. Looks to have not hurt the car there, so he's probably not too disappointed with the way that ran. Nice line down the front stretch, but not able to make a move just yet. Maybe, though. Try and set something up here through turn 2. Almost gets there, but has to duck back out of it as it becomes turn 3 and then up over the rise into turn 4. Might have to try and send one under the brakes if he can make something stick. Not this time at turn 5, as Jimmy Phoeben's going to certainly send it under brakes here. Funzo has to open the door there as they come out of the turn. Can that Mercedes hang on to the inside? Looking, but no. The line's there, but Phoeben is able to shut that one off just in time for the museum complex here as, Josh Fitt ahead has gone very wide through there, Jay. Ross Rizzo's going to get all over the back of him if he wasn't already there close enough.
It's a great fight, actually, because Fitt is doing exactly what we saw Kobe Williams do earlier. He's not driving overly defensive. He's just maintaining a line and doing enough to hold the position. He's not faster than Rizzo, but he's doing enough to make sure that Rizzo cannot get through. This is a very, very tough track to pass. And as you said before, you've really got to set up overtakes. You've got to set them up well. You've got to set them up early, and you've got to set them up corners in advance. Rizzo's attempt to make an overtake, probably set it up half a lap ago. Couldn't get through. He's going to have to do it all over again. He's got 4 laps to do it.
All right, through turns 1, 2, and now 3 we go. Timothy Phoeben waiting in the wings in the Mark 1 888 Lamborghini there. Somewhat dropped Adam Funslow, it seems. The 32 machine not quite going with him there to the end. And I'm just noticing there, Lachlan Capel's dropped down the order a little bit there.
He's back in the pits again.
Oh, and I
think he's just served a drive-through, actually.
That certainly could be it. Yeah, 20.9, no stop time at all. So that would explain things here. 17x incident limit in this race, and he's been in the wars a couple of times tonight already. But again, we'll talk about stuff like that later, because Ross Rizzo continuing to pressure on Joshua Fitt, but there's no way through on that backstretch chicane, and has to roll out a fraction, try and set something up down the bottom of the circuit here, get the run up and over the crest and that entry tunnel. But no, there isn't a position for him this time. By Fitt still driving a slightly narrower but nothing crazy racing line. Rizzo thinks about the final turn, but all that's going to do is make him vulnerable to Timothy Phoeben. Here comes the 888. Although Rizzo tries to squeeze, but he doesn't get there in time. Phoeben up the inside at turn 1. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Contact sends the 2 around.
And a little bit of a mistake at the same time from Fitt. But yeah, Rizzo around, Phoeben around, and this is championship changing because Ross Rizzo He's lost a whole heap of ground from the guys that he is battling with in this championship fight. That is game-changing stuff.
And more to it, is that Audi damaged beyond repair? The answer is so far no. He's going to get away with it. On the replay, thanks to the virtual racing score, you can see here, meeting in the middle perhaps, although I'd probably say Russo has the right to force Phoeben to take a nice narrow line through the turn. You can see swings back out to the outside to open things up. And actually...
that changes my opinion when I look at it on that angle.
We get that over-top shot. That might just be a case of possibly a slightly enthusiastic defense. You're not wrong there. So that
I thought that was clear-cut until we saw that angle.
Yeah, that is very true indeed. Top three make their way across the line just inside of 2 minutes and 40. So we should be 2 laps to go here for this group of cars. And well, we've got 1.5 seconds covering your top 3 in this race. Jeff Connell's also gotten through on Matthew Cardellone. No, sorry, Jeff Connell's through. The guy I'm thinking about is John Merritt. John Merritt is still trying to get through on Cardellone. And in fact, he's actually not really close enough. He's still 2.3 back. Is that 64 McLaren. Jeff Connell there in P4 is riding sort of shotgun to the podium, and unfortunately for him, hasn't really found what he needs to really close up on these 3. The man who looks racy here, and I say watch out for a last-minute lunge, is going to certainly be Kobe Williams aboard that 994 BMW. But we've seen already from the mid-pack guys that a little bit of defense is all you need to hold yourself in the right place. And well, for the race lead, I expect Gaderick will pull out all the stops here, as that's in the grasp of both of them, though,
confirmed.
over the tunnel. Well, to the line we come. It's going to be the white flag this time by not all that much, but it's going to be 29 laps for the feature round here, and it starts now. 3.8 kilometers of racing left as Barney waves that white flag. It's a 2-way fight for the win, it seems. Alexander Bird not able to go with Kobe Williams here at the start of the penultimate lap. And, oh, hello there.
Cardellone.
John Merritt is through on Matthew Cardellone. Trouble, perhaps, for the 81 machine.
Yeah, he's got no issues in regards to class lead, class win. Battle for second in class is close for Am, but the battle for the overall lead is well and truly on. We will stick with that all the way to the end. Williams around about half a second quicker on that previous lap. The lap previous to this, he was half a second quicker. The lap previous to that, he was 0.7 of a second quicker. So Kobe Williams is flying right now, but is there enough time on the clock with this being the final lap for him to get this done? It's going to be very, very tight. Gaderick has pushed it to the limit plus in this one.
Yeah, Williams is there through the back chicane we come, but I feel like it's going to have to be something completely unexpected to shake Gaderick out of that race lead. Over the top they come one last time. Both drivers keeping it on the road, all 4 wheels in the black stuff this time, and there you go. Defensive from Gaderick, trying to pull it up, though, for the final turn. Williams looks for the move, taps Gaderick in the rear. It's going to be side by side to the final turn. Gaderick, though, is going to keep it round the outside and hold on to the win. There ahead of Kobe Williams. He'll have to settle for second place in the feature. Alexander Bird makes it P3. Jeff Connell there, 4th. And then we await John Merritt to round out the top 5 overall. There he goes in the 64 McLaren. P6 tonight will be an M-Class win for Matthew Cardellone in the feature to make it 2 from 2 for him tonight. Meanwhile, look at this here. Timothy Phoeben, Dylan O'Shea here, racing to the line in these 2 cars. But it looks like Phoeben might just have enough to hold him off with that move. O'Shea isn't alongside there. He will have to slot in behind as they come around turn 1 to wrap their race up. Wayne Hewitt and Daniel Cheney going at it for 19th place outright perhaps here, but Cheney's got a lot of work, or it's going to have to be a mistake from Hewitt to make something happen here at the end, Jay. But, well, they're racing all the way to the line here, as you would expect from any of our races here tonight.
Yeah, it's all over for those guys, but I tell you what a good job from Dennis Gaderick to hold on. Good job from Kobe Williams after that little bit of contact. He did check it up a little bit to make sure he didn't overtake. Didn't want it to end that way, which is good to see. And Alexander Bird consolidates what a good championship he's had overall. Just the races he can't win, he's still able to get maximum points that he can out of the result. Picks up a P3 after a win in race 1. Brilliant driving.
Yeah, that is a very well-deserved result indeed. So we'll run you through the provisional results. Of course, post-race penalties may change things up for this, but here's how it stands for us tonight. Dennis Gadarek walks away your feature race winner tonight, just ahead there of Kobe Williams in the 994 BMW. Alexander Bird didn't quite have the pace to go with Kobe at the end, but he will settle for, I think, a P3. Also quite a nice bit of work there to come from P10 in this very competitive and slightly chaotic field here in the feature tonight. Jeff Connell there brings it home in 4th place for that one, ahead of John Merritt, who makes it a climb back up from 18th place to 5th. So not quite our biggest mover tonight, but certainly keeps or gets himself highest up the field. And that's certainly a win for him there tonight. Matthew Cardellone there makes it a 6th place finish and the winner of the AM class in both races this evening. I think he'll be fairly happy with that one there. Joshua Fitt makes it 7th place outright for him there in the 59 Mercedes, ahead of Adam Funzo there in the 32, who just holds off Danny Davidson, who I can say we didn't curse tonight, Jay, in the feature.
Not in the feature. He definitely didn't race one.
Yeah, well, look, we can ignore that one for now, I think. But up 19 spots for the 788 Lamborghini. And, well, I think he'll be quite happy with that kind of a redemption arc tonight there. He finishes ahead of Ross Rizzo, who rounds out our top 10. And, well, finishes there in a slightly lonely-looking spot. As when we flip over the page, you'll see the gap behind the next group of cars. Certainly quite healthy there, Joe.
Yeah, about 8.5 seconds back to Brandon Levin in P2. Second place in our AM class is Luke Fitt after a second place start in that one. Of course, finished 9th in race 1. Sorry, 10th in race 1. Yeah, 10th in race 1. Started on pole in that race there. Timothy Faven finishes 13 ahead of Dylan O'Shea. 14th, 3rd in class. Then we got Capel in 15th position, having to serve a drive-through right at the end. And Aaron DeLuca, Ben Jeffrey, Sam Lehman, good result from him in P18. Wayne Hewitt and Daniel Cheney rounding out the top 20.
21st tonight goes to Aaron Rakanauer there, ahead of Chu Kang in 22nd. Richard Brookfield will bring it home in 23rd there. Unfortunately, all three of those drivers slipping back a little bit in the results to finish where they did. Derek Audie brings it up from 37th place to 24th, one of the few drivers to switch into the McLaren for this series, and looks to have worked here in the second race. Hilton Booth not far behind him, also in the McLaren in 25th place, and it was Rob Hill, unfortunately, we saw him in the wars a bit, 26th, and the final driver on the lead lap in that race here tonight. Dale Carpenter, Phil Audie, Simon Dwyer, Nick Bottrell, and Nick Wood, our drivers who all finish one lap down, 27th through 31st inclusive there. Adam Jepson, 2 laps down, unfortunately, in the 525 for 32nd place. Ben Pollock, 3 laps short in the 86 for 33rd. And then our retirements in Christopher Henn, 14 laps short of the finish. Andre Heimgartner, 17 laps short of the finish. Owen Coleman, 20 laps short. Mark Foster, 21 laps short. Matt Andrews makes it, unfortunately, only 2 laps into that one at 27 laps short. And Matthew Johnson, I believe, retiring at the end of the opening lap after being tripped up in 2 of the races. Lap 1 twice, unfortunately for him. This is where we head next for next week. It'll be the first of our endurance rounds for the simrigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series here at season number 7. Sandown International Motor Raceway makes its debut here for the series, of course. Brand new circuit for iRacing as a whole, which means we get the chance to thrash it out here in the GT3 cars next week. Same time, 7:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Will mean, of course, that we get the Pass 2 race starting out same time, but they will get a chance to race for 40 minutes. I'm sure the bloody calendar thing.
40 minutes and then 60 minutes for the...
there it is. Yep, I was looking for the information. I couldn't bloody find it. But, well, that's on me then. So we'll catch the last 5 minutes of qualifying for Pass 2 next week. And then, 40-minute race for our Pass 2 guys. And then, 60-minute feature, 60-minute enduro for the Pro-Am. And we'll catch the back half of qualifying as soon as we're done with Pass 2. Usually we chat to a couple of the guys after the race, but it looks like we don't have anyone, unfortunately, joining us this evening, Jay. Do we wait one extra moment? I'll run off, of course, all the sponsors that make the series possible. Perhaps we'll see if anyone wanders in. Of course, title partner for several seasons now, simrigs.com, helping to make AusPass possible here in season number 7 once again. But of course, they're joined by Phoenix Smokers, Computer Technology Corporation, Echuca Toyota, and Index Designs, all contributing to the series. Big thanks from all of the sponsors on behalf of us here at SimSpeed in particular as well, for helping make the series possible to allow us to bring it to you live, or whether you're watching it back after the fact on the SimSpeed YouTube channel. Well, looks like unfortunately no interviews from our podium finishers tonight, guys. So big thanks for you all watching with us along tonight. SimSpeed returns on Sunday morning for the next round of the iRacing Grand Prix series. Until then, or whether you join us, and of course next week with AusPass. It's also a bumper week. Aussie Car F4 returns Monday night. AOG Porsche Cup next Tuesday night. And then simrigs.com AusPass returns on Thursday night next week as well. My name has been Daniel Yeaman. Jay Kennedy alongside me on production and commentary for this one here tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a good evening, and wherever you are in the world, take care. And bye for now. Not forever here at SimSpeed TV.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.